Good morning. Welcome to CAT's 2022 annual webinar. Today I have the pleasure of being amongst CAT's members and participating employers. Thank you for joining us today. We're looking forward to sharing some updates on our plan's performance, and you'll have a chance to hear from our panel discussion in an open Q&A. My name is Diane Smith. I'm the Director of Member Communications here at CAT, and I'll be moderating our conversations today. Before we get started, let's quickly review how you can participate. On your screen, there's a box located in the top right-hand corner. This is your webinar control panel. During the webinar, you can ask a question or share a comment. Simply type your remarks in the questions box. There's a separate link for ASL and closed captioning, which will be available at the end of your GoToWebinar reminder email in your email inbox. I'd now like to pass it over to our lead of French language services, Christopher Brophy, for a message about our session today. Chris?
Bonjour à toutes et à tous et bienvenue au webinaire. La séance d'aujourd'hui sera animée en anglais, mais comme indiqué dans votre invitation, nous fournirons prochainement une transcription française du webinaire. Si vous souhaitez recevoir cette transcription, veuillez taper « Français » dans la boîte à questions et nous ferons un suivi avec vous une fois que la transcription sera prête. Back to you, Diane.
Thank you, Chris. We have a lot of people in the room today, and I want to take a moment to get a sense of who's on the line with us. So we're going to start a poll, and I'd like you to take a moment just to tell us who you are. So your answers won't show on screen. We're only going to use this information if you have a question today that doesn't get answered during the session. It will enable us to follow up with you better. So simply pick one. I'm an active or retired member. I'm a participating employer. I'm an employee or employer interested in learning more about DB+. I'm representing a member or employer group, or I'm a consultant, lawyer, plan promoter, or other. Go ahead and select one. Just give you another moment to make your selection. Just let us know. And this is just information for us. All right, thank you. Thank you for answering that. It's nice to see so many of you with us today. Okay, so now I have another poll. I want to know, what do you think Canadians want and need more of when it comes to their workplace pensions? So is it more security? Is it more flexibility? Is it more value? Or is it more predictability? Let us know what you think. There's no wrong answers. What do you think Canadians want and need more of when it comes to their workplace pensions? So your options are security, flexibility, value, and predictability. I'll just give you a moment while you think about what you think Canadians want and need more of. Security, flexibility, value, or predictability. All right. So I don't see the answers on the poll, but thank you for completing it. I imagine that we had a fairly even split between all four options. Oh, here we go. Okay. I'm not surprised to see more security and more value, and then flexibility and predictability coming in fairly even. So this is great. This tells me right away that this crowd's ready to hear about how CAT is approaching all of these topics, but particularly security. And we're going to get into that in our panel discussion in just a few moments. But before we do, I'm going to share a trend that we've seen over the past year. It's really shaped our year and our stakeholders' year. And that is flexibility. Now more than ever, Canadians are looking for flexible workplaces that provide valuable, predictable, secure, lifetime retirement income from an organization they can trust. That's why we're really excited about our progress over the last year. In particular, we launched a new feature. It's called DB Plus with Contribution Choice. This new feature allows us to evolve and innovate our plan, and the changes help us put members' best interests at the forefront of our mind. Our panelists will be sharing more about this soon. I know we're excited to hear from them, but before I introduce them, let me give you a quick peek into CAT's performance and how our flexibility, security, value, and predictability ensured our best year yet. Security continues to be at the forefront of the CAT plan. It is so important to us. But even though we are evolving, we've remained strong and secure, just like your pension. Our members tell us that having a pension, whether they're contributing today for their future or already retired and receiving that lifetime retirement income, has been enormously important to their mental and financial health. The CAT pension plan is the only Canadian defined benefit pension plan open to all workplaces and offering valuable pensions for employees at every stage of their careers. We currently have over 75,600 active and retired members. We've expanded DB coverage to 11 industries. We're working with 211 participating employers and 17 union and member associations. This year alone, we welcomed over 100 new employers to the DB Plus plan. Our growth allows us to provide more benefit security for our members. And we're focused on keeping the plan strong and sustainable over the long term. Our experts are committed to sound investment and risk management practices and protecting the pension benefits our members have earned. We remain well positioned to keep resilient and sustainable for years to come. I'll let Derek and Asif dive into more details on what this means during our panel discussion, but overall, our plan is strong and performing well. It's there on the screen. At 124% funded, our prudent approach to long-term investing is proving to position the plan as one of the fastest growing in the country. Our well-established joint governance model means employees and employers have an equal voice in plan decisions. That collective focus helps us deliver value to employees and employers, and it helps us keep a pulse on the changing pension and workplace landscapes. Here's what our stakeholders say about us. Our feedback tells us members have a high degree of trust of their pension plan. And they agree that their interests are well represented by our governance structure and team. Here's some of the internal and external growth we've seen over the last year. At CAT, we always put our members first. We launched 2 new portals, one for members, it's called My Pension, and one for employers, and it's called Pension Administration Link, or PAL for short. We implemented member and employer experience committees to better meet your needs. And finally, we launched a new podcast to help our mission of making Canada better and expanding DB coverage to more workplaces across the country. And this is a good opportunity to share how our plan is growing. So we approach this in 2 ways. One is through our prudent approach to investing, and 2 is through growing plan membership. So our members and employers tell us that they want more Canadians to have what they have, access to a gold standard pension like CAT. And our efforts, for example, hosting a podcast, allow us to spread awareness of CAT and spread awareness of the importance of retirement security for Canada. Because as we grow, our plan grows stronger, and your pension continues to be more secure than ever. Now let's turn to our panel discussion, where we'll explore how CAT is making tomorrow better today. Let me introduce our panelists. Here with me today is the CAT Pension Plan's CEO and Plan Manager, Derek Dobson, our Chief Investment Officer, Asif Haq, and one of CAT's employee-appointed trustees, Donald Wright. Welcome to you all. Thank you for being with us here today. I am going to start the panel discussion with Derek. Derek, I shared some impressive numbers on Kat's performance earlier. Numbers aside, how is Kat doing right now?
Thank you, Diane, and good morning, everyone from across the country. Looking backwards, if we go beyond the numbers, our strong financial numbers on the investment and funding side, we're also continuing to meet our service level standards to our members and employers, which is very important. As they've told us in the past, we very much support the growth initiative that CAT has, but we also want to make sure that we retain our service levels. So I'm very pleased looking back that we have the service level structure. You've mentioned the portals, Diane. You've mentioned other things which our members are signing up in droves, and the feedback from employers and members has been very positive. But turning away from the numbers, as you said, and looking forward, we also have a very strong joint governance model, which has served us well and will continue to serve us well in the past. And also, we can't execute on our strategy and our great performance that we've had in the past and what we look forward to in the future without a great group of people, both plan governors and staff. And I'm pleased to say that we are one of Canada's most admired cultures, and having a strong team behind us is going to be essential as we look forward to keeping the plan strong in the future.
Thank you. That's nice to hear. Looking at CAT's year in review, there's a lot of focus on improving retirement security across Canada and supporting the transformation of workplaces. These are big goals for CAT. What does it mean for existing members?
Well, first of all, let me reinforce that growth is good for the plan. It is consistent with our fiduciary duty to make the plan strong for its existing members, but it's also going to make us even more resilient in the future through greater diversity of membership. And beyond those things which make sense from a business decision perspective, it's also the right thing to do. There is a pension challenge in Canada, and having CAT being so valuable, so very efficient, high performing, well governed, we're very pleased to be able to open up our doors to different organizations across Canada and share with them our expertise. And this is really going to be beneficial, as I said, for our current members. It'll allow us to continue to invest in tools and resources and advancements. Our current employers, similar tools, advancements, and continue to meet our SLAs, but it'll also allow the plan to be stronger from a financial perspective.
Thank you. That's great. Great summary of why we're doing it. Can you break down 124% for us? What should a member take from that? What does it mean for a member?
Yeah, so let's briefly put the numbers aside. I will say that the plan is very secure and very well funded. So 124% funded essentially means that for every dollar of pension promise we provided to all of our members, our active members who will collect their pension in the future, and our current retired members, for every dollar of pension promise we've made, we have $1.24 standing behind that promise. To translate that into numbers, that's about a $4.4 billion reserve to address any emerging investment volatility or down markets, or also good news things. If our members live longer than we expect, we have very deep reserves to rely upon. So again, I'll reinforce that our plan is secure. And $1.24 or 124% funded is a point in time measure. I can also share with everybody here today that we also look into the future and we do asset liability studies, and those show the plan continuing to grow in resilience and funding strength into the future, regardless of what the economic or demographics might unfold in the future.
I love that. It sounds like CAT's really aligned with what members think is important, which they told us was security. So I think that's fantastic. I want to take a moment to ask Asif a few questions. Asif, we're seeing a lot in the chat right now around our long-term approach. So let's talk about that. What is our investment strategy long-term?
Good morning, everyone. I believe there might be an issue with my camera, but I promise I am here. So thank you very much for the question. When we think about the long term, we think about it in a number of different ways. Our investment strategy, the most obvious form of long-term thinking is
There you are. Just bear with us a moment, folks. I can't hear Asif.
Hi, Diane, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Let's take that from the top. What is our investment strategy long term?
Live webinars, nothing like it. Yeah, so again, the question about the long-term approach, we think about everything we do on the investment side with a long-term lens. One of the most concrete ways that that shows up is in the asset mix itself. We've built our asset mix to hopefully deliver significant performance and benefit security over the long term. Concretely, significant allocations to assets in illiquid asset classes like private equity, real estate, infrastructure, areas where we expect significant return premiums over time, and where underlying company and project management has more of a long-term focus. Even within the public markets, we have meaningful allocations to areas of the markets where, yeah, we might expect some shorter term volatility, but where we expect returns over the longer term to be higher. So that longer term lens, a focus on benefit security for the long term, is really paramount to what we do. You know, another thing I could point to is long-term thinking in terms of relationships with our managers, our external investment partners. We have had these relationships in many cases. We have many external partners that have been with us for 10 plus years, and we have a couple that have been with us for 20, 25 years now. We believe that building and cultivating those relationships over the long term helps us get access to great thinking, great ideas, innovative strategies that we can use going forward for the benefit of members.
I love that. That's great. That's kind of my follow-up. So what does it mean for our members? What does our long-term strategy mean for our members?
Sure. So I think the biggest thing it means is that benefit security is enhanced. You mentioned earlier the performance we've been able to generate over the long term, and we're obviously quite proud of that. And strong performance of the plan obviously tied directly to security for the members. As you know, accrued benefits cannot be reduced, and as long as the investment program continues to perform, the plan will be able to continue enhancing benefits and ensure the long-term sustainability of the plan.
Fantastic. Thank you. So we've touched on this a little bit, but I'm curious, how is CAT's performance consistently tracking so well over the long term? What's your secret?
We're very proud of it. We're very satisfied with our performance. The return of net of all fees of 11.1% over the last 10 years is something we're obviously very proud of, and I am so appreciative to this dedicated, skilled group of investment professionals that I have the pleasure to work with every single day. They bring energy and great ideas all the time while still continuing to maintain that long-term focus. More concretely, asset markets have obviously been very kind to all investors over the last 10 years, and we've been a beneficiary of that. But at the same time, the work of our team has led to significant performance above and beyond what the markets would have given us. So we have outperformed market indices by roughly 2% per year over the last 10 years as well. And that has helped build that reserve that Derek was alluding to a little bit earlier. So we're very proud of it.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Also, I'm going to come back to you with some more questions, but I wanted to invite Donald to join us right now. So Donald, hello, welcome. It's great to have you participate with us today. I just want to make sure you can get your camera on. There we go. Hello, welcome. You've been involved with CAT for several decades, and you're now a retired member reaping the benefits of retirement income for life. What's your experience been like so far? Tell us all about it.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Diane, for that question. I have the privilege to be elected by the college support staff to be their representative on the board. I strongly endorse the board's mission for retirement pension for Canada. There are three things that I want to talk about. First, the opportunity to have a voice to present the members to ensure that they have a secure pension. Secondly, I want to just speak about the collaborative governance model that Plan has employed. And this is one of the reasons we continue to have the success and the great performance. And thirdly, I want to talk about the staff. They have provided us with simple, clear information so that our decision making is easier, becomes easy. I strongly believe that all employees, workers should have a pension because we deserve that.
I love that. I'm right there with you. I agree with you. So let's explore your time with CAT a little bit. You left our board and then retired, and then you recently joined as a trustee again. So how has that changed your perspective?
Yes. With regards to coming back now as a retiree, I can speak from a retiree's point of view, and I know this will add strength in our decision making. And when I look at what the plan is doing, there are many initiatives at hand. It makes me very excited to be on the board again. And thirdly, it's with regards to the plan giving access, opportunity to all workers, all employees as a vehicle to have a pension, to have an instrument out there that they can join to secure their retirement income also.
Amazing. So another sort of similar question. You've seen CAT from a few perspectives. You've been a member, a trustee, a union executive member. What in your mind is the true value of having a pension?
Yes, okay. First, I must say that pension is a difficult subject. It's a difficult thing to understand, but knowing that the CAT plan has an experienced team to deliver on the promise to ensure that I have our members, both retired and active, will have a secure pension. Also, there is, you don't have to worry, you know, because you know somebody is looking after your retirement income. So that sets you on ease. And also, you know that your family will be well taken care of. And I'll give an example. When I was about to retire, Plan Star provided me information so that I could make the best decision for the future of my family. And I can tell you that that information was sound.
That's fantastic. I have one more question for you. What would you like to share with the audience today? Maybe there's something you wish you knew or did while you were contributing to the plan, or maybe you've got some advice for retirement that you'd like to share?
Okay, so one of the first things that I would share for the active people, the active members, is that you don't have to worry. I am enjoying my pension. My pension is in the bank on the first day of the month. And that's a great feeling. The other thing that I would want to implore you to do is to, for those workers who are out there that don't have a pension, ensure that your workplace provide one. It is important. And lastly, if you have any service that you can buy back, do that, because the plan is where I can assure you there are a team of experts that you'll get the best return on your funds.
That is fantastic. Great advice. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you were able to join us today. I have a couple of investment questions for Asif. So Asif, if you could join us again. Hello again. So a question from the audience. Responsible investing is something that we're seeing and hearing about quite a bit. So I would love it if you could tell us how CAT approaches responsible investing.
Sure. Diane, happy to do that. Just want to make sure everybody can see and hear me.
Yes.
All right, excellent. So responsible investing, this topic is just a natural extension of that long-term focus that we were discussing a bit earlier. You know, the goal of the investment program is to generate investment rates of return that over that long horizon to keep the pension benefits secure. That's fundamental. But to do that, we need to consider risks over the long term as well, right? And we believe that environmental, social, and governance issues in the investment process are real financial risks that need to be considered and mitigated over the long term. So CAT is a signatory to the United Nations Principles for Responsible Investing, and we work every day, everybody in the team and with our external partners, to abide by those principles. CAT has a responsible investing policy. It's available on our website, and it spells out the ways in which we think about ESG issues in our investment program. We've also talked about it in some detail in our annual report, and I would invite everyone to check that out and see what we do in those areas.
Yeah, fantastic. I'd echo that. If you haven't seen the annual report yet, it's a great read. In the annual report, there's a mention of something called the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosure, TCFD. Can you share more about that?
Sure. So TCFD refers to climate risk specifically. And with anything, Diane, it's very difficult to manage something when you can't measure it well. And managing climate risk is challenging due to a lack of consistent carbon-related data available to investors about the entities in which they're investing. And the Financial Stability Board created TCFD specifically to address this, to increase, improve, and standardize the reporting of climate-related financial information from companies to investors. And this will help investors take informed decisions around the carbon in their portfolios, how to start reducing it, and how to look for opportunities as they relate to reducing climate and generating reducing carbon, excuse me, and generating investment performance at the same time.
Okay, thank you. That's really interesting. A few more questions I have for Derek. Derek, if you'd like to come back. I have, it's a good one. Derek, what are the misperceptions around pensions that are out there right now?
What I'm seeing across Canada and in fact across the world is probably two main conceptions. Number one is that a good DB plan isn't available. And probably the second one is about defined benefit plan sustainability, the model itself. On the availability, as our own members and employers who've joined the call today, they know that we've opened up our doors to Canadian workplaces that you mentioned earlier, Diane. So we're trying to solve that problem, but awareness is low. And in fact, most of the groups who have joined us, you mentioned 100 employers last year and about 7,500 members last year. Most of that came from people like you on the call, employers and members making introductions. So good pension plans, defined benefit pension plans are available. And the second one is sustainability. And I think that is the difference between CAT, which we consider a modern defined benefit pension plan, which means it acts like a defined contribution plan for the employer. So fixed cost, nothing on the balance sheet, CAT takes care of investment, compliance, board governance, etc., versus traditional single employer defined benefit pension plans where they don't enjoy any of those benefits. They have to deal with complexity. So we're working hard with our members and employers to get the message out that good pension plans are available, specifically through CAT, and we're very much sustainable, and that will remain our focus on a going forward basis as well.
Awesome. Yeah, those are so important to address those as often as we can, I think. I have a question from the audience. How might CAT's DB Plus plan be well positioned in an upcoming period of high inflation?
I can tell you that inflation is on the minds of everybody that I talk to for the past year and a half or so, even before we started to see the recent trends in inflation. And there's two things that I'd probably talk about. Number one is the plan, first of all. On the plan side, we've got it covered. We do a lot of analysis and look at different environments in which how the plan behaves, and we've structured our asset mix to perform well in a whole bunch of different environments, but that includes a high inflationary environment. Our asset mix includes a structure around assets that we expect to increase when inflation increases. So on that first point, the plan is secure even in an inflationary environment. The second one is more on the member side. Our plan design, DB Plus you mentioned, Diane, or the questioner mentioned, but and DB Prime as well, it includes inflation protection. So our board governors, our board and our sponsors committee, it's about retaining the purchasing power of members' pensions in their long retirement career. On average, our members should live to about age 90. Some past their 100th birthday, some maybe not as long. But inflation has a real impact on members' purchasing power, even in a low inflationary environment. If you think about 2% inflation over 25 years, that has a tremendous impact on somebody's pensions. In a high inflationary environment, it's even more important. So we're reassuring our members that we have a very high probability of paying inflation protection on a go-forward basis, continuing to create those enhancements. In fact, when we filed our valuation report earlier this year, we granted inflation protection increases for the next 3 years, no matter what inflation is. So members can rest assured that the plan is strong, but also that their pensions will continue to increase and get those inflation enhancements that we've been providing. We have a perfect record. So we introduced conditional inflation protection in 2007, and even during the global financial crisis, we have continued to increase pensions each and every year. And our analysis, our forecasts show that we have a very, very high probability of continuing to grant those inflation enhancements year over year into the future.
It's amazing. It's such a good point how important inflation protection is to security, which we know members care about desperately, and so do we. So here's another question from the audience. Can you tell us about the discount rate? Why is that really important? What's the decision around that number?
Okay, so clearly somebody who knows a bit more on the technical function of our pension plan. But again, let me start with the non-technical. So the discount rate and how we set it is really aligned to what we've been talking about today, is how do we keep the plan sustainable over the long term? And the discount rate, which we've set at 4.95%, essentially is a realistic picture of the future. All of our assumptions are meant to be realistic because we want to make sure that the funding health of the plan stays strong. And that's consistent across our 20 board members and sponsor committees members as well. This is unanimous. We want to keep the plan secure, and we saw the vast majority of our members want to see that as happen. But just go one level down in terms of the explanation for the members. This is basically over the long term, when we exceed that 4.95%, our reserves will grow even larger. And in years like we're experiencing so far in 2022, where investment returns might be below that 4.95%, we have reserves to rely on. So if we can, over the long term, beat our 4.95% discount rate, the plan will continue to grow in strength. So it's a very reasonable target to meet over the long term. So that's why I'm confident in my speaking that the plan is on sound footing today and in the future.
Amazing. That's good news for everyone. We have lots of participating employers in the group with us today. What would you like to share for employers? Is there anything that they should be mindful of?
Absolutely. They probably already know this, but I'll share what I'm hearing across the country and with all of our employers and some of our prospective employers. The race for talent, some call it the war for talent, the race for talent is on. And what I'll share with them is pensions matter in this race for talent. I mean, we're pension experts, so I love reading a lot of studies and seeing the correlations between people's decision to stay with their employer or go to a new employer, wellness at work. Pensions contribute all positively to attraction, retention, engagement, and wellness in the workplace. So again, employers probably already know this, but they're so busy, like they're getting work from home, dealing with the pandemic, etc. So I'll reinforce that point. Pensions matter, and more employers are coming to the CAT pension plan because we are a unique advantage to those employers in helping attract, retain, and keep the financial stress levels of members down. So that's the number one thing. The second thing that I'll mention, and this is a consistent theme that I've been talking about for the last 13 years, the more that members know about their pension, the more they value the pension. And we're so pleased that we offer very popular member sessions that the employers free of charge, members free of charge, getting the word out, because employers are already participating in the pension plan. They already have those costs on the contribution side. Why not maximize the value of those costs by getting members to know more about their pension plan? Because it just increases the value proposition. So those would be my key messages to employers.
Amazing. I don't know if you saw, but I was just handed a question. What are you most excited about in the coming years for CAT, for Canada?
Yeah, a lot. Late last year, the board and the sponsors committee approved our 2040 strategy, which is really built on a few pillars. Continued plan, security, and sustainability. That's what our members and employers want. That is our brand. But also, as you said, expanding what I would call a unique asset to Canada, a secure, well-funded, well-governed, highly valuable pension plan to more workplaces across Canada. We want to make Canada more competitive and retaining talent in Canada, attracting talent from across the world. And a stat that I'll share with you, people from other countries coming from Canada actually value pensions. We value them a lot. They value them more. So this is an exciting time to be in the pension plan arena because we're actually solving real problems, not only for members, predictable, secure lifetime pension, which is what they want and need. We're also solving problems for employers, attraction, retention, stress reduction that I mentioned in the last question. And finally, we're solving problems for Canada. We're helping people not retire in poverty. We know that there's correlations if your income is not secure, that you utilize healthcare services more, you're more stressed, you're less likely to volunteer. People are worried about being a burden to their children. So a good pension plan like CAT solves all these problems that we're hearing about. So it's a very exciting time. So that was sort of the second pillar, solving Canada's pension crisis. And then the third one is really innovating. So listening to members, listening to employers, and willing to change to meet their needs. You mentioned briefly, Diane, our launching of DB Plus with contribution choice, because we know certain employers want to give some contribution flexibility to the members. Many of them say they want the same program for all employees, but some say, no, we want to give members the choice on how much they contribute to the pension plan. So CAT, I'm very excited that our board, our sponsors, through that 2040 strategy have said, we are going to listen to our employers, our members, prospective employers and members, and reduce the barriers to getting access to a great pension plan like CAT.
It's exciting. It's an exciting time to be part of CAT. I could listen to you talk about this all day, but I'm going to give our last question now. How would you like to end our chat today?
Well, first of all, I should say thank you to everybody, although you'll probably do that as well, Diane. But our members and employers should be proud of giving us the ability to go out and make pensions better for Canada. And I'll also reinforce the key messages. We're strong, we're secure, we're not only doing the right things from a fiduciary perspective, but we're also doing the right things morally of making pensions more available to Canadians. So as you said, it's an exciting time to be part of the CAT pension plan.
Thank you. That was a fantastic way to end the session. So that's the end of our panel discussion. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, and I'd like to thank Donald and Asif and Derek for their insights and their commentary. It's just been fantastic to hear from you experts about how CAT's making tomorrow better today. Everyone, thank you for joining us. Before you go, we have one final poll, which we'll put on the screen as you're logging out. We just want to know how you felt today's webinar was today. How did it go for you? And as always, you can share comments directly in the question box. And if your question didn't get answered today, we will get back to you as soon as we can. As you're completing this poll, I just want to take a moment to let you know that our annual member and employer surveys will be out this summer, so keep an eye on your inbox. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone, and have a great day.